Digitizing your classroom library checkout check-in system. Final step. Creating the front end. We begin by opening Looker Studio. Next, we link to our data.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end, and now we are creating their front end for the students. In order to do this, we're using Looker Studio, and on this step, what we're going to do is we're simply going to link all of that data from our spreadsheet to here. So to do this, we're going to click on this Google Sheet tab. Once you do that, you're going to see a list of all of your Google Sheets. Now, what you want to do is you want to look for that spreadsheet that has the information we've been working on this whole time. Once you select that, it's going to give you a list of all of the tabs that are in there. Now, if you are doing it, if you have multiple shelves, your shelves are going to be listed in there as well, just as you see that I have rack L1 here. Now, the way that we set it up, all of the information that we need is going to be here in basic information. So that's the only thing that you need to click, because all the information is going to be located there. Once you click on it, you're going to push add, and then it's going to ask you, or you're about to add data to this report. It's verifying the correct sheet that you have, and once you've verified it, you can go ahead and push add to report. All right, that's our first step.
Now let us begin with creating a control.
All right, now that we have our data tied in to this front end that we're going to use for the students, now it's time to start putting in the elements that we need. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to create what is called a control. This control will be the thing that all of the other information on this page is going to be based off of. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this chart that's already in here and I'm going to delete it. We're going to come back and actually create one of those later on, but right now I'm going to take it step by step to, keep it simple. First thing, like I said, we're going to add a control. The control that we're going to add is a drop-down list. So you can click there, and then you will see the first thing that it does is it puts it by title. So this is the first thing that we need. So I'm going to go in here and I am going to clean this up a little bit before we move on to the next thing that you want to put in here. So it has a record count in this, and we don't need that. So what you want to do is simply come here under control and set up. You're going to see a metric there that says record count. We don't need that. So where there is an X, if you highlight it, if you hover over it, you're going to see an X appear in the far right corner. Just go ahead and click that and remove it. So when they come here, all the students are going to see are just the titles. Okay, so we're going to stop right there.
Now we create an information section.
All right, now that we have our control, now what we want to do is we want to get the information for that control. So for example, what that means is if the students are looking at Zach's lie, they're going to want to see like who's the author, which bookshelf it's on, what genre, so on and so forth. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create that information across the board. So to do that, you want to add a chart. And at the top, or some may have it on the bottom of theirs, there should be one that says table. You want to select table. Once you've selected table, you're going to place that, just simply click it on your screen. And once you've done that, you're going to see a list of all of the titles, record numbers, and their numbers on the side. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to clean this up a little bit. And as I do it, I'm going to talk to you and let you know what I'm doing. First thing that I want to do is I want to remove these numbers. So to remove that number, I'm going to go to the top right where it says style. And what I'm looking for is table body and row numbers. I'm going to select that to remove the row numbers. Now, this record count is another thing that I'm going to want to remove. So to do that, I'm going to select where it says set up under chart, and I'm looking for the metric. Now, just like with the other one, you highlight where it says metric, and an X will appear on the far right corner. You're going to click that X and it will remove that. The last thing that I'm going to remove before starting to add all of these other bits of information is this number at the bottom. I'm simply going to go to number of rows, and then I'm going to click where it says top end. Now later on, we're going to come back and we are going to work with this because I want to show you guys how to just pull up one piece of information at a time. But right now, don't worry about it. First thing that we're going to do is we are going to place in all of the different categories that the students are going to want to see. So for my students, we're going to want to add author. Where is how many copies we have on hand, where it's located. Let's see, what else? How many pages are in it? Now for this one, I'm probably going to want that after the author. So you can decide where in here in this chart you're going to do it, because it goes in the order that you put. So here I have title, author, page, on hand, location. I may also want to add, is there anything? Genre. So I'll probably put that before the page number. So now that I have all of the categories that I think my students are going to want to see, and I know you're probably saying, hey, what about the summary? We're going to come back to that and we're going to add that separately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my widths of each one of these columns so that it looks a little better than what it does right now. So do that. You can do that by simply taking your mouse, putting it over the line, and then you can move them manually. Now there is one other thing that I want my students to also be able to see, and that is who was the last individual that checked it out. So last checked out by, I'm going to put that at the end, and I'm going to pull this over. Now, cleaning this up before we move on to the next portion, we need to make sure that since nobody's checked out any books right now, what you see is that it says null. Now, you want this to be a blank space. So to do that, I'm going to go over to Style. I'm going to go down to, where are you? Missing data. And this is going to be for anything in the chart that's missing. So what you want to do is you want to click the drop down and you want to go to show blank. Click that and it will remove all of those nulls and replace them with blanks. Now, you see how fast this is coming along? We're almost there. So on to the next part.
Time to add the summary.
Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to add the summary. It's a chart just like the other one. You can go here to add a chart, or you can go straight over to where the summary is, grab it, pull it, and drag it. Why I love Looker Studio so much, it allows for that drag and drop feel as well. Now, just like we did with the other ones, there's a few things that we need to fix in this. The row number, the numbers at the bottom, along with that null. So just like before, we're going to come here and we are going to go to Style. We're going to take that show missing data and take it from null to blank. Now, this just means that one of your titles has a blank summary, which you can go back and correct. But just in case you want to leave it in there, you can just simply show blank. Now, the other part that we're going to do, we're going to go over here to table body and we're going to remove that row number. Next, we're going to do away with the number at the bottom, and we do that by number of rows, and then we're going to go top end. Like I said before, we're going to do it to where there's only one. I'm going to show you how to do that once we start designing this and we get into the cosmetics of it. But right now, I'm just going to focus in on showing you guys how to get this basic information that we're looking for. And that is how you get your summary in.
Time to add the book cover.
All right, we're coming close to the end of grabbing all of the information that we need to put on this page, and then we're just going to go into creating the look and feel of it. So the next thing that I like to add in here is the book cover. So when we use that handy library app, it gave us a link to the book covers. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys we need to change it from just showing the URL to actually going to look up that image. And then I'm going to show you how to add it into your front end. So First things first, what we want to do is go up here to the top where it says resource, and then we want to manage added data sources. What you're going to do is you're going to come over here to actions, edit, and you're going to click edit. Once you click edit, you're going to come over here to where it says image URL. Now, you can change the title of that because I don't like it saying image URL. I want it to say book cover, and you can change it right there. Now, after you've done that, you're going to click this drop down where it says URL, and you're going to go to the very bottom where it says URL, and you're going to go to image. So what this does is it allows it to then pull up the image instead of just showing that URL. You're going to click finish and then close. Now you can take that book cover and simply drag it over. Once you've done that, what you're going to do to clean it up, same thing that we did before. Going to get rid of that row number by going to style. And I'm sure you guys are already ahead of me and you know what you're doing. That means you learn. So click on row number, remove that. Then we're going to go back here, top in, and click that. So another thing that, well, I'll talk about removing where it says book cover here when we get into the aesthetics of it, making it look a certain way. So one thing that I do is I also arrange it to where the book cover looks a certain way. So to do that, all you have to do is just click on it. Click on it, and when you have those boxes around it, that allows you to adjust the size of it. So if you pull it in, you're going to see that it adjusts the height and the width of the image. So what I like to do is I like to pull it in until I see that image of the book cover all the way in there. And you can bring it out a little bit, bring it over until the whole book cover's in there. Now, right now you have all the book covers. So what I do is I try to do it to where only one book cover fits in, and then we are going to talk about how to fix that up a little bit later on, because that's going to be a part of the aesthetics. So one more thing we have to get before we get into the look and feel of it is that link to the check-in and check-out form, which is what we have next.
Let us create a button that links to the checkout check-in form.
Okay, now the last true element of this page is that check-in and check-out button. Once we get that in, then we have all of the foundational parts that we need to build the complete front end, not just for this page, search by title page, but we can also create a search by genre, search by author, search by location page. But the last true element that we're going to do is the link to the check-in and check-out form, which we have right here. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to click where it says add a control. So once you click there, you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom where it says button. You're going to put your button on there. Now I'm you know me, I'm going to go ahead and rename that to check out / check in form. I'm going to go ahead and resize that to where it will be the right size, which I'm actually going to make this bigger when we get into the look and feel of it. So now what we have to do is we have to take this and make it to where when they click on this, depending on which book the students select. Now, for this example that we created here, we only had one form. But if you're going to create a form for each one of your bookshelves, then based on the book and the bookshelf that it's on, like this link will take them to that specific one. That was the importance of what we did with that column that said checkout, check-in URL. So if you're going to create a different form for the different shelves, make sure that you link that form in this column. So with that being said, the next thing that we're going to do is where it says button link URL, it says static link. So we're going to have a dynamic link from dimension. Once again, the reason we're not going with static is because that would mean all of your books would go to that form, but you wanted the form to be based on which book it is and whichever book that you put for that checkout, check-in URL. So then all you're going to do is you're going to drag that check-in, checkout URL into the dimension. And once you do that, then that allows those students to simply click on that button and it'll pull up that check-in and check-out form. Now, that's the end of the basic elements of this, and now it's time for us to look into the look and feel.
Now the look and feel.
All right, so now that we have all the basic elements in here that we need, it's now time to take a look at how it looks and to adjust the look of it. So first thing that I want to bring to your attention is when we look at the titles, we see that it is in descending order, not ascending order, right? So I don't know about you guys, but I didn't learn my alphabet by going from Z up to A. So the first thing that I'm going to do with this title and with everything is I'm going to rearrange the order. So when you go to setup, you're going to see order. It's right under setup, and you're going to click ascending. Now, here's another thing. Show top number at 5,000. If you got more than 5,000 books on your shelf, which most of us don't, then you're going to have to increase your number here because you want it to be able to show all of your books in that selection. I don't think that would be the case, but just in case it is. So we've changed our ascending there. Let's go ahead and do the same thing here. Our order, where is our order title? Ascending. All right, let's go here. We have an order here. Sort, order. We do not have an order here, which really is that big of a deal. Same here. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Okay, sort. There's no order. All right, so now what we've done is we have taken it and we have put it in a specific order. Now, there's a few more things that I like to do when cleaning this up. So as you see, as I was going through, I clicked on that summary and you see that it automatically pulled up the summary that's tied to it along with that book title. Right now, I don't need that, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reset it. There's some stuff that I want to show you guys after I get through cleaning this up that I think it is kind of important that you need to show your students as well. So first thing that I want to do in cleaning this up, now that I have the right order that I want, I now want to take this and I want to have it to where it shows only one book at a time. So to do that, the information, I like to call this chart my information chart. My information chart, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this over. Now, remember, I talked earlier about the number of rows and we had that top end. So now what you want to do is you want to go to where it says top end under setup and you want to push the number 1. And what you're going to notice that it does once you push enter is that it's going to show only that one row. So now what you can do is you can then resize this. For me, I like this because it's going to just give that one bit of information and it's not going to show all of the text. Now, once again, this is one of the things that you're going to have to teach your students. When you go through and you do it, they're going to have to go in and select the one that they want to see, and then that information is going to show up. Okay. Now I can show you how to make sure that that first title that you have always shows up. So it's only just that information for that first title. And that goes here in that default value. So if the 13 stories is your first value, like you would copy this and you would put it under default selection, and then it'll automatically be there. Now, if you want to show all of them, you just have your students go here to title and they push that minus button and it'll show all of them again. Okay. So come here, it's only showing that one. Now, the next thing that we want to do is with our summaries, these summaries are going to most likely need to wrap around. So I'm going to show you guys how to make sure that it wraps around. So wrap text is what you're going to do. You're going to click on that box, you're going to go to setup, and then this is not table header, but it is the table labels, and you're going to wrap the text. Now, for me, I'm kind of old. This is kind of hard to read, so I'd probably just go in and increase that font a little bit to where it can be read. You can also do this because we're going to come here, right? So now, another thing that I want to do is I'm going to actually create headers for summary and book cover. I'm going to take this information and I'm going to put it down a little bit lower underneath all this other information so that my students can still see it. Once again, I'm old, so I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to increase the size of that. So I'm just rearranging it. I'll probably fast forward through this a little bit so that you guys don't have to watch me rearrange. But when we come to this, I'm going to increase the size of it so that we get a better look and feel. Once again, style, and we are looking for our table butter. Where's my font? And I'm going to increase that font, table labels, increase that font a little bit, maybe a little bit more. And this is also where you can go in and actually change the fonts if you want to. Maybe you just don't like that font and you want to change the font. You can do it here. Let's go with this one. That's a little bit much. Let's go here. That looks good. And if you want to change the header font, you just scroll up a little bit and you can do the same thing there. Oh, that looks good. Change the font. No, open. And that looks good. So now we have our basic information. We have our basic information for the title and all of that. And let's pick one specifically, 13. And we know that it all goes together. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to change out where this header is, and I'm going to show you guys how to create your own headers for these, because I don't like the way that that looks. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to style. I'm going to select that chart, go to style, and then I'm simply going to click where it says show header and take my header off. Do the same here and take it off. Now, another thing that I like to do is, because we have a control, this is our control, which I'm probably going to increase it a little bit. I'm going to increase the size of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more chart that gives us the title right here. So they know what they've selected is this information, right? And if I'm going to do that, I might as well just go ahead and take this title out. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you guys how to create those titles. Now, you can go here to the top where it says text. You click on it and it's going to ask you, where do you want to put it? And we can put it here. Under here, you can just draw it out. And then you're simply going to give it a title. Now, guys, now I have the look and feel of my front end, what our students will see. Now, if you ever want to just check your stuff to make sure that it is what you want it to look like, you're going to go up here to the top where it says view. And then this is what the students will see when they come to your thing. Now, there's other things that I'm going to add to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to add different elements to it. And I'll speed through this so that you guys don't have to sit through piece by piece. But if there's a part of it that you want to see, just make sure that you pause it and slow it down so that you can view what you want to see.
Let us complete our front end by creating other search criteria.
All right, guys. So now that we have all the information that we need, if you really want to stop here, you can, because your students can search up the titles that they're looking for, and then simply click the checkout or check in button. It'll take them to the form, allowing them to check in or check out those books. But for me, I want my students to be able to search by not just title, but also genre, by author, and by the location itself. So in order to do this, I'm going to walk you through the last parts of this project to actually be able to create those for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that on a different page and how to actually get it to where it does it. So first thing you want to do, based on how many criteria that you want your students to be able to search by. Now remember, those criteria have to be located in the data columns. So I want it to be able to search by author. Author's there. I want them to be able to look it up by where it's actually located. Location's there. And I want them to be able to look it up by genre. And genre is also there. So those other three criteria, I'm going to add. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pages and I'm going to duplicate it. I'm not going to add it. I'm going to duplicate because it's going to make it that much easier. So now, if you notice on this left-hand side of the screen, there is now numbers. Those numbers represent the pages. And what I'm going to do is I am going to fix these pages up first before I show you how to do anything. So in order to do that, I'm going to go here to page, and then I'm going to go to manage pages. See, what this allows me to do is change the name of them and actually give them icons. And I'm going to do that right fast. Now, when you're doing this, over here on the left-hand side is where those icons are going to be, but you can also change it to be at top. You can come up here to theme and layout, and where it says navigation type, we can actually put that tab at the top. So now they can select them from here. I like that layout, so I'm going to leave it there. So now, the next part that we're going to do, we already have it here. The reason that I duplicated it is because the only thing that we really need to do is change that control. Remember, the control is what dictates all of this information on here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that control, and instead of title, I'm going to grab author, and I'm going to replace title with author. And I'm going to do some cleaning up. So for this, what you probably want to do is you want to add another title to it, another control. So you can do multiple controls. So for this one, let's go ahead and reset it and say, I want biography, right? Only biographies. Then what's going to happen is you're going to list all of the different biographies that there are. So you probably want to add another control, drop down here, and it's going to list all of the possible titles for that. Once again, I'll go ahead and clean this up a little bit. So now you have multiple titles. You'll be able to choose between your multiple titles. So now I can pick that. So the first control is going to be our genre. Then the second control will be our title, which is good because then Matter of fact, we probably want to do that for our author as well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So now we have worked our way through building up, scanning our libraries, then transporting it into Google Sheets, then creating a check-in and check-out system through Google Forms and tying that Google Forms data back into Google Sheets. And now we have created what's called a front end for your students to use to look up this information and check in and check out books from your classroom library. So now the last thing that has to happen is you getting this front end out to the students. In order for you to do that, this is a fairly easy process that you can take. There are a few things that you can do. You can come in to share. When you click share, you can make it a public link if you want to. This will allow anybody with a link to your site to come on and take a look at what's going on. And when you do that, let's click done. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get a report link. You copy that. You can copy this and then you can send this out to your students. Now, I know a lot of you guys are tech savvy. If you're watching this channel, you most definitely are. So I'm pretty sure you know how to take a link and create a QR code. And that's what I'll do for my students. Like, I will list the QR code and I'll post it on the side of the bookshelf for students to scan and look stuff up. Or I'll have it where in my classroom, I have jobs for students. And one of the jobs is the librarian. So it'll be the responsibility of the librarian to ensure that if a book is checked out, that quantity has been taken off of our inventory. And when something's checked in, it would be their responsibility to check it back in. Students just give it to the librarian and they do that. But let's do this. Let us go to another tab and let's paste in that location and see what the students would see and what it looks like live. So on the students end, when you share that link with them, it'll look something like this. So all of those options that we've created for them, they can search by title, by author, by genre, by location. If they want, they can pull up a specific book and they can click the link to check out that book. Check out book. Next. Let's go next. Check out book. Aliens stole my body. Let's go next. What's your first and last name? Your class period, first, and today's date. Submit. And just like that, the student has now checked that book out. So there's 4 of them on hand. And if you want to make sure that the right quantity is taken off, you can simply refresh the page and then it should be 3 on hand. Because what it's going to do, as you were, is you can click here to refresh data. It's going to go back and go get that information. So if you do have a student that's your librarian, just teach them. Whenever something comes off and they see that it hasn't changed, just go to refresh data in these 3 dots and it will refresh that data for them. And it'll tell them who the last person that checked it out. So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully, I did not make this too hard for you. I made it simple, like we do here at WDS Innovations. We do simple innovations for you on a regular basis. And I hope that you were able to take this and put it in your classroom tomorrow. Please let me know in the comments below. Let me know how this worked out for you, because I want to be able to adjust what I do to meet you guys' needs. Thank you guys for sticking with me this long, and I'm out. Peace.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more content like this.